If you are eating fish to protect your heart and brain after 60, I need you to stop what you are doing right now. Because the 4 fish most commonly recommended for seniors, the ones your doctor, your nutritionist, or a health website may have told you to eat more of, could be doing the exact opposite of everything you believe. And if you are taking blood pressure medication, cholesterol medication, or a blood thinner, the damage may already be in progress. Today, I am going to prove it to you, fish by fish. Before I tell you which fish, I want you to pay attention to something first. Have you noticed your thinking isn't quite as sharp as it was 5 years ago? Not dementia, just slower. The word you're looking for takes a half-second longer to arrive than it used to. A heaviness in your legs that wasn't there a year ago, even after you've been sitting down all afternoon. A slight tremor in your hands, so small you haven't mentioned it to anyone yet. Brain fog that hits you after lunch, even after a full night of sleep, or blood pressure readings that keep creeping up. Despite your medication, despite doing everything right, if even one of those sounds familiar, do not close this video. What I am about to show you could explain exactly why those symptoms are happening, and it starts with what is on your plate. Before I give you the full list, I need you to do something for me right now. Hold out one hand in front of you, take the thumbnail of your other hand, and press down firmly on that thumbnail. Press hard. Hold it for exactly 5 seconds. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now release, and watch carefully. How many seconds does it take for the pink color to come all the way back to that nail? Keep that number in your head. Normal is under 2 seconds. If yours took longer than 2 seconds, that is a clinical measurement I use in my own exam room. It is called the Capillary Refill Test, and it tells me how efficiently your blood is reaching the smallest vessels in your body. I am going to tell you exactly what your result means, and which specific fish are directly connected to it at the end of this video. Do not forget your number. And what I'm about to share with you is what I tell my own patients, not what fits into a 7-minute appointment. Because that is the reality your doctor lives in. 7 minutes per visit. That is not enough time to explain what I'm about to show you. Here's what the research says. A study published in the journal Environmental Health Perspectives, following over 14,000 adults over the age of 60, found that regular consumption of high mercury fish was associated with a 67% increase in cerebrovascular events, including stroke, compared to those who avoided it. The Mayo Clinic and the American Heart Association have both issued formal guidance confirming that mercury exposure in older adults is not a theoretical risk. It is a measurable, documented clinical one. And yet, most seniors eating fish 4 times a week have never had a blood mercury test ordered, not once. By the end of this video, you will know the 4 fish doing the most damage, why each one specifically interferes with medications most of you are already taking, and the exact name of the blood test to request. Write it down when I give it to you. Let me tell you about Dorothy. Dorothy was 71 years old, a retired school teacher from Ohio. Sharp, active, the kind of woman who did the crossword puzzle every morning and walked her neighborhood every afternoon without fail. She had been on metformin for her type 2 diabetes for 11 years, and she was deeply proud of the fact that she ate healthy. Every week without fail, Dorothy made tuna salad for lunch, 4 days a week, sometimes 5. She had read years ago that omega-3 fatty acids were critical for brain health after 60. She was doing everything right. What Dorothy didn't know was that she had been quietly loading her brain and nervous system with methylmercury for over a decade. And here's what her doctor never had time to explain. Methylmercury from fish directly interferes with metformin's ability to regulate glucose at the cellular level. It increases oxidative stress in the tissues where metformin works. Dorothy's blood sugar was harder to control than it should have been, and the fish she was eating to stay healthy was part of why. When Dorothy's family noticed she was repeating herself, asking the same question twice in the same conversation, they assumed it was early dementia. Her doctor ordered a standard cognitive panel, but one test came back that changed everything: her whole blood mercury level. It was 3 times the upper limit of normal for a woman her age. Dorothy did not have dementia. She had mercury toxicity from the tuna she had been eating every week to protect herself. Within 8 months of removing high mercury fish from her diet and with proper medical support, her cognitive function improved measurably. Her blood sugar regulation improved too. Type Dorothy in the comments right now if this story sounds like someone you know, or like you. I have saved the most alarming fish for last, and when I tell you its name, you are going to walk straight to your kitchen. Stay with me through all 4. Fish number 4, swordfish. The fish that sounds premium, the one they charge the most for at restaurants. Here is what you are actually paying for. Swordfish is a large apex predator. It can live for decades. Throughout its entire life, it feeds on smaller fish. Each of those fish carries trace mercury in its tissue. Swordfish absorbs all of it every single meal for years. Scientists call this process bioaccumulation. By the time that fish reaches your plate, no amount of cooking can reduce what has accumulated in its flesh. The FDA places swordfish on its explicit do not eat list for older adults. Not the limited list, not the be careful list, the do not eat list. Now, here is the specific danger for seniors on cardiovascular medication. Researchers at the Cleveland Clinic have documented that methylmercury from fish like swordfish Disrupts the endothelial lining of your blood vessels, the inner wall of your arteries. If you are on a blood thinner like warfarin or aspirin, your medication is working to prevent clots from forming on that arterial lining. Mercury is simultaneously making that lining stickier and more prone to dysfunction. Your medication and your dinner are working against each other every single week. If you are on a diuretic, hydrochlorothiazide or furosemide to manage blood pressure or fluid retention, your kidneys are processing mercury more slowly than they would otherwise. That means it accumulates faster, it stays longer, levels can rise without you or your doctor knowing. The test to ask for: a whole blood mercury level test, not a standard blood panel. A whole blood mercury level. Write that down right now. The actionable step: if Swordfish is in your freezer, it comes out tonight. Before I get to fish number 3, I want to stop for 1 second. Type your age and the state you're watching from in the comments right now. I read every single one. It helps me understand exactly who I'm making these videos for, and it takes 5 seconds. Fish number 3, tuna, and I know exactly what you're thinking. Tuna is the healthy one. It's in every nutrition guide ever published. It may be sitting in your pantry right now. Here's what those guides are not telling you. Albacore tuna, the white variety in most canned tuna, is the second highest source of mercury exposure in the American diet, not because tuna is inherently toxic, but because of how seniors eat it. The FDA recommends no more than 1 4-ounce serving of albacore per week for adults over 60, 1 serving. But the average senior who eats tuna eats it 3 to 4 times a week, for years. A study published in the journal Neurotoxicology and Teratology found that methylmercury from albacore tuna was directly associated with reduced processing speed and impaired executive function, and measurable hippocampal volume loss in adults over 60. The hippocampus is the part of your brain responsible for forming and retrieving memories. When mercury reduces its volume, that is not brain fog, that is structural brain damage. If you are on lisinopril, amlodipine, or any ACE inhibitor or calcium channel blocker for blood pressure, these medications work by relaxing and widening your blood vessels. That is called vasodilation. Mercury from albacore tuna has been shown in peer-reviewed research to counteract that vasodilating effect. It stiffens the same arterial walls your medication is trying to relax. That is the connection between your can of tuna and a blood pressure reading that will not come down, no matter how faithfully you take your pill every morning. Same test, whole blood mercury level. Ask for it by name. Actionable step this week: replace albacore with canned light tuna, which is significantly lower mercury, or better yet, sardines, which have almost none. But here is what makes fish number 2 even more dangerous, because most seniors have never even heard its name. Fish number 2, tilefish. How many of you have heard of tilefish before? If the answer is never, that is precisely the problem. The FDA places Gulf of Mexico tilefish at the very top of its mercury warning list, the highest mercury concentration of any commercially available fish. And yet, tilefish is regularly served in restaurants under generic descriptions: whitefish, flaky whitefish, chef's choice seafood. Seniors across this country are ordering it without knowing what it is. A study published in JAMA Neurology, the journal of the American Medical Association's flagship neurology publication, found that seniors with elevated mercury levels from high mercury fish had a 65% greater risk of cognitive decline compared to those who avoided it. 65%. That is not a statistical footnote. That is a clinical warning that should be on the wall of every doctor's waiting room. Now, the specific danger for seniors on statins. If you are taking atorvastatin, rosuvastatin, or any statin medication for cholesterol, your statin is working to stabilize the plaque inside your arterial walls and reduce cardiovascular inflammation. Mercury from tilefish promotes exactly the kind of oxidative stress that makes arterial plaque less stable, meaning it can rupture more easily. A ruptured arterial plaque is the direct trigger for the majority of strokes. Your statin is trying to hold that plaque in place. Tilefish is making it fragile. The symptoms of tilefish mercury toxicity do not look like poisoning. They look like aging, memory loss, confusion, numbness in the hands and feet, mood instability, tremors. The exact symptoms that get dismissed at checkups as just getting older. Actionable step: before your next restaurant meal, ask your server specifically what type of fish the whitefish is. If they cannot tell you, do not eat it. Tell me in the comments, have you or someone you love been dealing with brain fog, unexplained memory changes, or blood pressure that keeps rising despite taking medication every day? Your comment might help another senior watching right now recognize something their doctor has been missing for years. Fish number 1 on our list today, tilapia. This is the name you know well. I told you it would surprise you. It often does. Tilapia is the most popular fish in America. It is low-fat, inexpensive, widely available, and marketed everywhere as a heart-healthy protein. It is on the menu at hospital cafeterias. Nutritionists recommend it. Cardiologists have mentioned it in passing as a safe choice. Here's what they are not telling you. Farmed tilapia, which is virtually all of the tilapia sold in the United States, has an omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acid ratio of up to 11 to 1. Let me translate that into plain terms. Your body needs both omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids. The ideal ratio is 1 to 1. In a healthy diet, perhaps 2 to 1. When that ratio climbs to 11 to 1 in favor of omega-6, you are not eating a heart-healthy food. You are eating one of the most pro-inflammatory proteins available. Omega-6 fatty acids in excess act as a biological accelerant for chronic inflammation. That is the mechanism behind cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's disease, and stroke. A study published in the Journal of the American Dietetic Association found that the inflammatory potential of farmed tilapia exceeded that of a hamburger. It was a staggering find. It even exceeded bacon in its inflammatory potential. For seniors already managing chronic inflammation, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, this fish is gasoline on a fire your body is already trying to put out. Now, the medication interaction. If you are on metformin for diabetes, excess omega-6 fatty acids drive the insulin resistance that metformin is prescribed to overcome. Every serving of farmed tilapia you eat is partially undermining what your diabetes medication is working to correct. If you are on a statin, statins are critical for many. The inflammatory cascade triggered by excess omega-6 compounds the oxidative stress that damages arterial plaque. Again, your medication working in one direction, your dinner working in the other. And that is before we discuss what farmed tilapia is actually eating. Most farmed tilapia sold in the United States comes from overseas facilities where farming regulations are significantly weaker than American standards. These fish are raised in crowded conditions, fed on corn, soy, and in documented cases, animal byproducts. To prevent disease in those conditions, they are given antibiotics and antifungal agents. Those compounds do not disappear when you cook the fish. They concentrate in the tissue. They end up in your body. Peer-reviewed research has documented dioxin contamination in farmed tilapia. Persistent industrial pollutants that accumulate in fat tissue remain in the body for years and are linked to immune suppression, hormonal disruption, and increased cancer risk. For seniors whose liver and kidney function naturally declines each year, this is not theoretical. It is a compounding biological burden your body is less and less equipped to handle every year you keep eating it. Test to request a comprehensive metabolic panel with inflammatory markers, specifically high-sensitivity C-reactive protein, written as HSCRP. If your HSCRP is elevated and you have been eating farmed tilapia regularly, you now have a clinical reason why. Actionable step: replace farmed tilapia immediately with wild-caught sardines, wild Alaskan salmon, or wild-caught pollock. All three are available at any grocery store in America. All three have clean omega profiles and minimal contamination risk. Remember that test I asked you to do at the very beginning of this video? Like, when I asked you to press your thumbnail and count how long it took for the pink color to come back? Here is exactly what your result means. Under 2 seconds, that is your clinical normal. It does not mean you have no risk. It means your peripheral circulation is currently functioning within range. You should still request the whole blood mercury level test if you have been eating any of the 4 fish I named today. 2 to 3 seconds. That is a yellow flag. Mildly delayed capillary refill is a measurable early indicator of reduced circulation to the small vessels in your body. This is not a diagnosis, but it is a clinical reason to call your doctor this week and ask specifically for a whole blood mercury level test and a high sensitivity CRP. Over 3 seconds, do not wait for your next scheduled appointment. Call Monday morning. Tell your doctor you have delayed capillary refill and you want a whole blood mercury level, a high sensitivity CRP, and a homocysteine level ordered. Those exact words. Chronic mercury exposure from fish like swordfish, tilefish, and albacore tuna has been directly linked to endothelial dysfunction, the same vascular mechanism that makes clot formation more likely and raises your stroke risk. If your refill time was slow and you have been eating any of these 4 fish, those 2 facts belong in the same conversation with your doctor. Here is exactly what you do next. Here is your action plan for the next 24 hours. Step 1. Go to your kitchen right now. Check for swordfish, albacore tuna, tilefish, and tilapia. If a label says tilapia but does not say wild caught, assume it is farmed. Remove it. Step 2. Call your doctor tomorrow morning. Ask specifically for a whole blood mercury level test. Not a general blood panel, a whole blood mercury level test. If your capillary refill was over 2 seconds, also ask for HSCRP and homocysteine. Write those words down right now. Whole blood mercury level, HSCRP, homocysteine. Bring them to the appointment and say them by name. Step 3. Replace those 4 fish with sardines, wild Alaskan salmon, or wild-caught pollock. Those are your 3 safest options. Highest omega-3 content, lowest contamination risk, available at any grocery store in America today. You now know something that most people eating heart-healthy fish have never been told. Something the 7-minute appointment doesn't leave room for. And that knowledge belongs to the people you love too. Share this video with someone in your life who eats fish. You may be doing the most important thing you have done for them this year. If you want to keep getting this kind of doctor-led health education, free, no paywalls, no prescriptions, subscribe and hit the bell. I publish new videos every week. Your health cannot afford to wait.